Get ready for a deep dive into the shifting landscape of music. We start with the Oxford Blue, examining the rise of pop music and the death of innovation. We explore how the introduction of the music video fundamentally changed how artists connect with audiences, looking at groundbreaking work by Duran Duran and Aha and the revolutionary use of technology in the 80s. This segment unpacks the evolution from bands like the Beatles to the modern saturation of boy and girl groups and questions whether creativity is truly fading in today's pop landscape. Artists, helping to connect emerging talent with listeners and driving direct consumer action. Finally, we elevate the scene in Nashville as the R&B landscape evolves. We dive into the collaborative dynamic taking shape among pivotal players like guitarist Samuel Hayes and keyboard player T. Andre Holmes as they build a new sound blending neo-soul with hip-hop phrasing. Discover how artists like Kylie and Summer Joy are finding their voice through organic instrumentation, and learn how community efforts are helping Nashville R&B find its authentic, collaborative home. Stay with us for more. Music has always been a subject of intense division, ranging from 70s rock to classical and contemporary pop. However, the author argues that to truly understand music, one must look beyond mere sound and consider the entire experience, including creative elements like music videos and performances. The introduction of the music video, spurred by platforms like MTV, marked a major turning point, compelling bands to become more inventive and visual. This era saw artists like Duran Duran and Aha push boundaries with exotic locations and innovative techniques, such as stop motion. The 1980s were a whirlwind of experimentation, fostering genres like new wave, Europop, and hip-hop, alongside technological advancements in music production. While the 1990s saw emergence from alternative scenes like Nirvana and Eminem, the decade also ushered in the era of mainstream pop, characterized by manufactured boy and girl groups. The author questions whether this reliance on generic group formats has diminished true innovation in pop music, citing ongoing legal disputes over melodies. Furthermore, the shift towards solely listening to music, diminishing the role of the music video, is seen as a regression in artistic expression. Despite acknowledging exceptional talent, such as Declan McKenna's experimental work, the author observes that chart-topping artists often conform to trends, leading to a loss of individuality. Ultimately, the piece concludes that innovation may not be necessary for every listener. The tragedy lies not in the notes themselves, but in the increasing commonality of melodies in modern music. Music education is emerging as a cornerstone of Australia's vibrant music industry and national economy, according to new research released by Music Australia. The latest edition of the Bass Line, Australia's comprehensive annual economic analysis of the music industry, revealed that the sector generated an estimated $10.76 billion in revenue during 2024-25, contributing an estimated $4.28 billion in direct gross value added to the Australian economy. The analysis, presented at the Victorian Music Development Office Data and Insights Summit in Melbourne, also featured a companion report focusing specifically on music education. This companion report, titled More Than Notes on a Page, The Music Education Ecosystem in Australia, identified the music education sector as a significant economic powerhouse, generating $1.79 billion in revenues and contributing more to gross value added than live performance alone. The music education sector encompasses a wide spectrum of learning and professional development, including theory, composition, instrumental training, conducting, recording, live production, and music business skills, underscoring its critical role in the industry's value chain and its contribution to social benefits, lifelong engagement, and future career pathways. Despite overall music industry revenues growing by an estimated 5.2% from the previous year, the research highlighted slower growth in key areas such as exports, 1.9%, direct gross value added, 1.5%, and artist income, 0.9%. These figures signal increasing pressure on artists and local businesses, emphasizing the need for contemporary evidence to guide policy, investment, and industry decisions. Millie Milgate, Director of Music Australia, stated that the 2 years of data are revealing patterns about value movement within the industry. She emphasized a key finding. In addition to being culturally important, music education is one of the strongest contributors to Australia's local music industry and the economy more broadly. Milgate also noted that the data clearly confirms the direct link between Australian music consumption by local audiences and artist revenue growth, providing crucial evidence for long-term local content strategies. The reports were prepared by Music Australia and McAtamney and advisors, drawing on extensive research, stakeholder consultation, and primary data collection. Readers can download the Bass Line's second edition and the companion report to explore these economic dynamics. New research reveals that Australia's community radio sector injects an estimated $153.1 million annually into the struggling national music industries. The study found that community radio broadcasts approximately 390,960 hours of Australian music each year, more than double the 160,000 hours broadcast by commercial radio. Crucially, for every dollar invested in community radio, up to $5.55 is returned to the music industries, benefiting musicians, record companies, venues, and songwriters. The research analyzed 292 music-intensive community radio stations, including prominent outlets like 3RRR in Melbourne, FBi in Sydney, and 6RTR-FM in Perth. The findings are particularly timely as the nation's oldest community station, Sydney's 2SIR, faces closure amid reduced university funding. Data from 10 case study stations and a net value analysis highlighted the vital role community radio plays in music discovery. About 1.6 million Australians, roughly 30% of weekly listeners, reported discovering local or emerging artists through community radio. Furthermore, 1 million listeners stated they recommended local musicians, and another 1 million indicated community radio was their sole source for desired Australian music. Airplay directly translates into consumer action. 24% of Australians purchase tickets, music, or merchandise after hearing content on community radio, and 28% look up artists on digital platforms afterward. Indigenous community radio is also making a significant impact, comprising 1/3 of the top 39 most intensive music stations, often serving Indigenous audiences while attracting broader listeners. Industry experts argue that in an era dominated by streaming and expensive international tour, community radio acts as a crucial gateway for local talent. Hip-hop artist Elfresh, the Lion, noted that community radio is the lifeblood of the scene, providing consistent access and a passionate ecosystem that supports the entire industry. Beyond music, these stations offer listeners curated, community-connected content and provide artists with essential platforms for promotion, interviews, and gig coordination. The report concludes that increased investment in community radio, coupled with improved digital options, presents a viable pathway for recovering ground in Australia's music sector. Nashville's R&B scene is experiencing a significant evolution, shifting away from purely individualistic pursuits toward a powerful collaborative dynamic. Industry analysts note that rising artists are focusing on building distinct identities through shared creative spaces rather than viewing the development process as a competition, a departure from the traditional Nashville model. The advancement in the local scene is being driven by deep, long-standing relationships among musicians. For example, guitarist Samuel Hayes and keyboard player T. Andre Holmes, who share roots from the W.O. Smith Music School, formed a successful combo that fostered sustained collaboration with emerging talent like Kylie and Summer Joy. This network extends to professional opportunities, with Hayes serving as an assistant studio engineer for artists he supports. This collaborative approach allows for greater creative freedom. Holmes noted that working with trusted friends fosters an environment where ideas can be freely shared, enabling deeper artistic expression. Hayes highlighted how this synergy led to the evolution of songs, citing Kylie's track, Fly Away, as an example of a melodic idea fleshed out through band collaboration, emphasizing the power of lyrical honesty. Furthermore, the sound of the new Nashville R&B is characterized by a preference for organic instrumentation over purely digital production. Artists like Summer Joy prioritize the raw human quality of live musicianship, which results in a sound described as neo-soul, a blend of jazz and hip-hop phrasing. This aesthetic echoes the spirit of classic neo-soul movements from the late 1990s and early 2000s, featuring artists like D'Angelo and Erykah Badu. To solidify this community-focused movement, various venues and initiatives are providing crucial platforms. Events like the R and Babu Showcase, created by Sheldon and DJ Tika After Dark, and Love Noise's Analog Soul Nights, are carrying forward the legacy of Sunday night gatherings that once shaped Nashville's live music landscape. With musicians gaining opportunities through weekly jams at venues like Inglewood Lounge and Flamingo Club, and the National Museum of African American Music providing a home for R&B, the overarching theme is community. Sheldon emphasized this sentiment, stating that operating as a community rather than competitively is the key to success, believing they are so much better together than we are apart.